Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you're new here. And it's the weekend, so we're going to use Rebel Deck. Get us low humor going for the weekend. I hope you had a fabulous week. Let's see what we got here. Be fucking grateful. Shit could be so much worse. I love that we got that for this week because we've talked about perseverance, freedom, and surrender. And, you know, in the surrender that we talked about on Friday, we really, it's so hard to maintain perspective when you're going through some shit. It's the more we focus on what's going wrong. Because, like I said, I've been in moments where it just was like somebody napalmed my life, and I'm just standing in the middle of it, like, hmm. And at that moment, I can't imagine this shit could be much worse, right? I mean, we've all been there. And you're looking around you going, alrighty then. And sometimes just because of our mindset in that moment, trying to find something to be grateful for. And and that's where the perspective comes in. And we mentioned if we can change our perspective, because we can control ourselves. It's the only thing we can control. If I can control the way I view something by looking at what is there to be grateful for, and that may take you a minute. That's why I said start small. Like, okay, I am grateful for my cup. Why? It makes me laugh. Because it says, I'm mostly peace, love, and light, and a little go fuck yourself. So you can start with something like that. Or, I'm grateful that I'm alive right now. And sometimes that's a hard one when you're looking around at your life being napalmed and you may not be feeling real grateful to be alive at that moment, but that you have your health. Because if you can be grateful that you have your health, you know that you have the ability to rebuild. And, or you can be grateful that although everything around you is going down in flames, that just means there's very little to clean up before you rebuild. You don't even have to get a dumpster. It burned right down to the foundation. I have literally been at that point where I thought, well, I guess the good news is I don't have anything. So it's really a clean slate. I pretty much create whatever I want from this point. Hey, sometimes you gotta be creative. And I have an older video that's rock bottom about it being a launch pad. Because if we've hit rock bottom, if nothing else, that is a pretty firm foundation to rebuild from. And you can be grateful for that. And like I said, you may have to get creative. I'm grateful for my shirt. I'm grateful for a cup of coffee. But that gratitude is going to help you tremendously in changing your perspective about the situation. Or, like, my hair. Okay, so with this grow out, I'm grateful that my hair's growing again. I'm grateful that they make baseball caps until it looks like a hairdo. Uh, but I'm also grateful that I understand hair enough to know that had I just allowed it to naturally grow out, I would have ended up with a mullet. The last thing I need is a mullet. It's just, that's not what I'm shooting for. God love you all. I get a lot of people love mullets. I like them on other people. I just don't want one myself, right? So I've been keeping the sides shaved, but I'm grateful that, hey, you know what? I can still grow hair. It fell out. It's coming back. It's not the way I would choose to wear it, but I have hair. I was joking with one of the guys that I work with about that because he can't grow hair. And he was like, "Girl, I think that's awesome. You got way more hair than I do." Perspective. Is it what I want? Not yet. Is it getting there? Yeah. Is it going to take time? Yeah. Perseverance, you know. And is it being grateful that, okay, this is not necessarily what I would have asked for, but at the same time, shit could be so much worse. And trying to keep that perspective in those moments where this isn't what I want. This isn't what I expected. This isn't the outcome that I had in mind. And that goes back to that surrender. Show me what this is teaching me. What do I need to learn from this? How can I rebuild from this point? What direction should I go in? When your life has been napalmed, you can go wherever you want to, but because we are beings who have a tendency to repeat patterns, that's why I wrote the book. Some of the patterns we repeat are not beneficial for us. And if we can identify those and not do that again, that's excellent. And that's why when we reach that point where we've got an outcome that we did not desire, we need to figure out how we got there. Be grateful that, okay, there are still opportunities, options, good things. There's still good things. This, not so much. How did I get here? What is this teaching me? What can I draw from this so that when I do start going in another direction, I know what not to do? What did I do here that led me to this point, and what can I change so that I make sure I don't do that again? We don't want to find a point where shit could be much worse because we didn't take the time to pull the lesson from what we just went through. And by being grateful for that lesson, and trust me, I get that too, where at the other side of that, it's much easier to look back in gratitude for the lesson that you learned. However, no matter how grateful you are for the growth and the lesson that you learned, you're not running around to line back up for that roller coaster again, are you? Not volunteering? Hell no, I'm grateful for the lesson, but I'm good now. I'm so good now. Let us not do that again. Uh, be fucking grateful that you're not going to do it again because you learned the lesson. You took the time. You picked it apart to see what actions did I take? What choices did I make that led to this outcome? Because once we identify that, remember, we can only control ourselves. Okay, I know not to take that action, not to make that choice. That is what led to this outcome that has napalmed my life. Now that I've got a clean slate to start over from again, and I'm grateful, there's not a whole lot of cleanup here. It's a clean slate. I'm ready to start again. I'm starting with more wisdom. I'm grateful that now I understand how I got here, how this happened, what actions I took, what things I allowed, what choices I made that led to this outcome. And I am grateful to have that understanding and knowledge so that going forward, I won't do that again. It's hard to be grateful for that while the napalm is there and it's burning and right, that takes reflection. But that is something to be hugely grateful for. Because when we go through something like that, we don't want to do it again. And if you're anything like me, I did some dumb shit again and again and again. And it's the subconscious programming. And it wasn't until I started to figure out why. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm on my 15th roller coaster at the other side of it going, how the hell did that happen again? I got to figure this out. I do not want to do this again. So be grateful for the knowledge and the wisdom you've gained through this experience. and take the time, like we talked about earlier this week. Figure out what your version of happiness is. Hell, if you're starting from rock bottom and everything's been napalmed and you got a clean slate, shoot for the stars. Aim high. Because Les Brown, it's better to aim high and miss than it is to aim low and hit. Aim high. Dream big, perseverance, discipline. Time's going to pass anyway. Surrender the outcome and stay open to guidance from source, higher power. Those nudges, those signs, those synchronicities, they're going to guide you on your way. Have in mind your desire, but stay open to bigger blessings. Because again, when you surrender and you're in gratitude, when you can be in gratitude at rock bottom, you impress the universe. They realize that, you know what? They learned something. They're ready for something bigger now. They took some information from this. They've learned. We can now trust them not to napalm some shit again so they can have better shit. Be grateful that now you get better shit because it's everything you had got napalmed. It's perspective. Again, looking at something like that as an opportunity to start all over and completely recreate yourself. Rather than being a dead end, it's a complete new beginning. We're actually energetically in a time of new beginnings. So, I think a lot of us have experienced a massive life transformation and a huge challenge, a napalming in the last few years. And part of that is just to prepare us for this transition we're supposed to be undertaking, to build the resilience, to build the ability to surrender, the trust, the gratitude. And here we are on the precipice of this giant transformational change. Let's be grateful for that. So I do hope this helps. And again, I feel for you. I truly do. This life school, it's a journey. It is a journey. And being able to maintain a perspective of this is happening for me. When life gets napalmed, it's because what we had wasn't meant for us. It wasn't taking us where we needed to go, and it had to be removed. And when it's happening, it doesn't feel good, and it's hard to feel gratitude. And it's changing that perspective to, well, what now? I've got so many options. I kind of do whatever I want now. What direction do I want to go in? Is seeing it as an opportunity. All the barriers have been removed because there you are. It's wide open space now. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? Who are you? What part of you haven't you expressed yet? Because that's probably what they're trying to bring out of you anyway. So, again, thank you for joining me. I hope this helps, and I will talk to you soon.